Jojolapa sakasita thong Nepal sambat chinsasa pinyada chaulaga त्रयोदशी शनिबार सन् 2025 अप्रिल 26 तारिक विक्रम सम्वत 2082 वैशाख 13 गते वर्ल्ड नेवा अर्गनाइजेशन पाखे न्यावे वेचंगु ठो निया निठाय प्रसारण WDB अर्थात वर्ल्ड नेवा डेली ब्रॉडकास्ट और मतलब वर्ल्ड नेवा अर्गनाइजेशन डेली ब्रॉडकास्ट ठुके फुंको अटजला ठुको खलाबला जालो चिकपिसा WDB दाइ ट्विटर चिसा ठुके चाहिँ नेपाल केटा बनिसिया गुटाइले WNOयाको फेसबुक पेज वो जुमे न्याब्ने लाइभ सोया दिएफै अठ्या चाहिँ सेन्ट्रल युरोपियन यो चाहिँ ई कटा चाहिँ ठो निनेसियो 5 बजे जी अहिले युके ई कटा चाहिँ निनेसियो 4 जे जुसा नेपालले चाहिँ बनिसियो 9 जे अहिले अमेरिका चाहिँ इस्टर्न ई कटा चाहिँ सुदस्य 11 बजे अथे युएसयू बटी चाहिँ वेस्टर्न ई कटा चाहिँ ठो 8:15 बजे चाहिँ ठो लाइभ ज्याचो हुँदै अहिले थौ झिगु ठो ज्याजो या बो जिन सोसाव व पी सुंगु बो जुगुटु अरेको 1343औं एपिसोड जुगुटु छिसा निया निराथे थवे थौन छि नाप पहा थना छि पुनतैगुटु वसुया निया सिकपिन्टा चाहिँ छौ छ्रया दासा झिगु ठो WDB ज्याजो आठौने फेसबुक लाइभ यान चुनला जुएजुल तर थौने फेसबुक चाहिँ लाइभ जी ढुङ्गा सुइनु लिपा चाहिँ ठो अटो डिलिट ठो मन ठो हुयाउनी जुली ठिक बिसा चाहिँ सुइनु लिपा चाहिँ ठो लाइभ जु भिडियो चाहिँ थना फेसबुक खनिमको एजिया छिसा नापानी चाहिँ याना विच नोडु कि ठो WDB बडी गुल्न एपिसोड को उटा डाउनलोड याना युट्युब अपलोड याना तैगुटु वो फुका पुंके करेन्ट इश्यू टके छिसा चाहिँ अपलोड याना तैगुटु ल आ थौ थौ यो चीज चाहिँ खलायो खसा चाहिँ थौ जिउबडी ठो एपिसोड चाहिँ ठो गुपटी गुल्न ख ठो वो चौपटी जिउ जिन हजार दैथे गुल्न ठो एपिसोड उके लागि चिकपिस युट्युब स्वेउ खसा जिउ युट्युब युबटी चाहिँ वेबसाइट www.youtube.com थोला जुए जुला अटे /@ WNOWDV लुमके सिके अफो तो youtube.com ढंगा // देउ जुला अनवया चाहिँ @@ जुए जुला ले WNOWDV ओके चाहिँ जासा ओके चाहिँ चिप्स तक्को जिउ युट्युब तो अफिशियल युट्युब चाहिँ जिउन गुल्न WDB ज्याजोडो ओके चिसा चाहिँ अपलोड याना तैगु जुला ओके चिप्स सोयादि फै ला ठौ चाहिँ चिसा थो जिउ ज्याजो चाहिँ गोप्टी ज्याजो ठो चिसा थो हरेक महिना रे मतलब अंग्रेजी महिना कटा चाहिँ दक्ले लिपाङ्गो शनिबार एटा छौ नेपाल भाषा नेपाल संस्कृति छुना कल्चर चाहिँ विशेष योगदान बिया चाहिँ अनुसन्धान याना छ दिपी अजापी मनो हेरेका छ अजापी पापी हेरेका चाहिँ फेब्रुअरी निसी छ न्याकको ख फेब्रुअरी चाहिँ स्टार्ट नो ख फेब्रुअरीले छिसा चाहिँ छम लिङ्ग्विस्टिक भाषा विज्ञ अले कवि छम चाहिँ भाषा अनुवादक नेपाल भाषा तक खलाना सेका चाहिँ नेपाल भाषा यो पुनः अनुवाद याना याना जिटुङको म प्रोफेसर डाक्टर डेभिड हार्ग्रिप्सर हयु खस त चाहिँ फेब्रुअरी 22 तारिक त चाहिँ तक्ले फेब्रुअरी डक्ले लिपाङ्गो शनिबार जला अनलिपा चाहिँ मार्च महिना चाहिँ तक्ले लिपाङ्गो शनिबार छ वर्ल्ड निवा डे हलि निवा नि हने माउली मार्च महिना चाहिँ छ हे मुफ्त 8औं चाहिँ अप्रिल ले चाहिँ तक्ले लिपाङ्गो शनिबार ठौ छिसा चाहिँ अथे विशेष पा मेजु कुवन हन तेरथना खैदियो तना वेका छिनापेडी वेका चाहिँ अमेरिका चुनाजी पोर्टल्यान्ड ओरिगन तर वेकला चाहिँ थयो ठाउँमा चाहिँ विशेष चाहिँ योगदान बिया चर्या प्याखमा सेका चर्या प्याखलाई योको कन्ट्रिब्युट याना दिगु सिकपसा शिवजी अन उल्टे शिवला मसिला पोर्टल्यान्ड चाहिँ ओरिगन छ डान्स मण्डल टेम्पल ढगिदु वेका चाहिँ तको सञ्चालक कि मु मुनु चाहिँ छि प्रज्वल बज्राचार्य ख अन वेका चाहिँ चर्या प्याखा सिनामिना ख वेका पाखे थौय पहा मेजु कुन हन्त चाहिँ चर्या प्याखा सेकेजुको मुखो प्याखाना लिया अन चाहिँ थ एक्टिभली छ सक्रिय रूपमा चाहिँ अन चर्या डान्स चाहिँ याना चुना दिएको वेका यो बायोग्राफी खला खसा वेका छम चाहिँ गेम्स चाहिँ डिजाइनर सिमुलेसन देखि मुखा वेकला चाहिँ उता गेम तो भिडियो गेमपट्टि जी थुक भिडियो गेमपट्टि चाहिँ वेका पाखेन छ ख निने बिया गेम सिमुलेसन टेक्नोलोजी पाखे वेका ठवे कन्सल्टिङ फर्म नडु वो फर्म मार्फत वेकला चाहिँ योको अर्गनाइजेसन चाहिँ छ अर्गनाइजेसनल छ विकसित या हिसाबमा चाहिँ यो कोही ग्वालियन्टीहरू ज्यान्टीहरू कतै कि अर्गनाइजेसन अमेरिकन इन्स्टिट्युट अफ म्यानेजिङ डाइभर्सिटी एन्ड कोकोकोला एटलान्टा चोङ्गु ख अथे डायब्लो न्युक्लियर पावर प्लान्ट क्यालिफोर्निया चोङ्गु युएस आर्मी कर्पोरेसन हो इन्जिनियर्स जुलक्ष्मी ठेट्यो सङ्घ संस्था नभएको चाहिँ थै कन्सल्टेन्ट मार्फत चाहिँ फर्म मार्फत चाहिँ यो चाहिँ इन्स्टिट्युसनल डेभलपमेन्ट या लागि वेकल ज्यान्टीको ख वेक छमा चाहिँ तो नर्थ अमेरिकन सिमुलेसन एन्ड गेमिङ एसोसिएसन चौथो अर्गनाइजेसनमा प्लामो नायो प्लामो प्रेसिडेन्ट तो बोर्ड यामा चाहिँ अध्यक्ष न जिआइटीको ख अठे वेका चाहिँ खास वेकला चाहिँ वेका साइकोलोजी चाहिँ ब्याचलर्स डिग्री एन्टीको ख अहिले पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट चाहिँ वेकला चाहिँ बायोएथिक्स चाहिँ एन्टीको ख वेका चाहिँ नन प्रफिट पेसिफिक इन्स्टिट्युट चाहिँ वेका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिभ डाइरेक्टर ज्याना ज्यान्टी हुँला थोजिलो वेका चाहिँ थै प्रोफेसनल करियर जुल अहिले वेकला चाहिँ छ टेक्निकल एसिस्टेन्ट ज्या खास चाहिँ हवाई इन्स्टिट्युट अफ जियोफिज हो अहिले जनरल एटोमिक इन सेन्टियोके ज्याना थै करियर स्टुडेन्ट हो तर 8औं चाहिँ वेका चाहिँ चर्या डान्स चाहिँ ज्या चंगुदु आदि सिक्पिन्ट वेका चाहिँ छौ किपाट Spanish किपाट अहिले वेकन चाहिँ प्रेजेन्टेसन एन्डीको छ भिडियो क्लिप अवलम्बको 2 मिनेट जिथो थमेस्या थो कम्बाइन याना चाहिँ कम्पाइल नाडेको भन्छ क्वालिटीलाई एकदम सर्ट क्वालिटी उले बालाम छ तर जी सिक्पिन त सियरियाको फोटो हेर्छ न त न अहिले ठिकै जोंगो भिडियो चाहिँ खास चाहिँ वर्ल्ड लेभल अर्गनाइजेसन चाहिँ झिकोको चाहिँ छ बुसाड अनि झोले चाहिँ वेकमा प्रेजेन्टेन्टीको खटो ठिकै दु भिडियो ठिकै पेपा नेपा भिडियो ल अहिले मेरो जितना कुरा हुन्छ न पिपानिबा भिडियो क्लिप त त्यहाँ जिट्टा या नखरो देखियो पनि आफू गिल बाले ख ओला देतो जी शेयर हुन्छ नि पल्क के साउन्ड मोडो के पिपाले साउन्ड मोडो तर फोटो चाहिँ ले पछि भिडियोले पछि साउन्ड हो
Mahavihara was created out of the vision of 3 people, Pandit Ratnakaji Vajracharya, Helen Fox Appel, and Prajwal Ratna Vajracharya. It is the realization of Ratnakaji's dream to see the richness and wisdom of Newar Vajrayana Buddhism move beyond the borders of Nepal and out into the wider world. Prajwal, the youngest son of this well-known family of scholars and priests and artists in Nepal, is an internationally acclaimed Charya dancer and the very beloved priest and teacher of Nritmandala Mahavihara. You saw him earlier. It was he who introduced Helen to his father's vision and his own mission in the West. It was Helen, with her deep personal experience of Zen, Tibetan, and Vajrayana Buddhism over many years, who ultimately chose to commit her time and resources to the building of our carefully crafted temple based on Newar design using American builders and integrating many elements such as the beautifully carved struts, doors, and windows created by craftsmen in Nepal. Consecrated in 2009, as Daya mentioned, as the 19th Mahavihara within Newar Vajrayana Buddhism, the first so consecrated in hundreds of years, the temple has become a gathering place for Newars and Buddhists of various sects from throughout the United States. It has become a place of scholarly discussion and Newar cultural affirmation and activity. Our Sangha is a mixed Sangha, made up in approximately equal parts of Nepalis and Westerners, giving us a wonderful opportunity to simply learn much.
सिक्न थो नकिने सोयदेखि चाहिँ चिगा हाकको भिडियो क्लिप चाहिँ थो थौँ पहाडमा चाहिँ कुवन हन्ट न चाहिँ प्रेजेन्टेसन जानेको थो वर्ल्ड लेभल अर्गनाइजेसन चाहिँ झिकोको बुसाडा हनेको झले सन् 2020 यानेको जुल अहिले जी चिपिन्दा चाहिँ खास छ किन हामीले थो वेक चाहिँ कन्ट्रिब्युसन चर्या डान्स गुल्टेको दु ठने चिपिसम वो किपाटे सोयदेखि गुल्न थो बिहार खना देचौं का वो बिहार चाहिँ पोर्टल्यान्ड ओरेगन चौं परि जी दृष्टे नेपालले डुकुटी चाहिँ महाबिहार बिहार त्यही टेकटको ठिकै चाहिँ विशेष कन्ट्रिब्युसन चाहिँ पजुरो लट्नु पजुरो बजार छ अरे वेक चाहिँ डान्स मन्दल टेम्पोले चाहिँ चरे डान्स नसिनेको यहाँ चाहन्छु अहिले ठाउँ छिपा वेक है छम स्टुडेन्ट नजुल अहिले ठाउँ ठो विशेष ज्यादा चाहिँ नाजा दैनी ठो हरेक महिने दिपाङ्गो शनिबार चाहिँ नेपाल भाषा संस्कृति सम्बन्धी रिसर्च जना चोपी विशेष कन्ट्रिब्युसन जना चोपी नेपाली नेवा गैर नेवा अथवा चाहिँ गैर नेपाली ठुवे कपिन हया चाहिँ खलाबले यागो कुटा जुनोका ठुके चाहिँ विशेष ठुके चाहिँ छिटा चाहिँ ठो ज्याजो ह्याकेटा ग्वालेन दिमाका चिन्य वर्ल्ड नेवा अर्गनाइजेसन संरक्षक तया स्वप्न साकी वेक्ला वकैटा वेकय खटना चाहिँ ठो ग्वाली के लागि याना चुना दिमा वेकैटा जी चाहिँ ठो ज्याजो वेकैटे लल्या जी वेकर्न ठो पहा चुला किन वेकलन ज्यान दिगो ख वेकर यको को सुबा वेक इयो लागि जी ठ पल्क लिपा चाहिँ ठो वेकर्न अब कोन हन चाहिँ लसोस्या ढुङ्गा ठो माइक ठो चाहिँ जी फ्लोर चाहिँ डाइरेक्ट नसाकेट ह्यान्ड ओभर याउ जी वेकैटा चाहिँ बिउ जी जजलपा एन्ड वेलकम कोन हन्ट
Thank you.
Okay, I just try to give brief introductions about you. I don't know how much I give, but anyway, so you and Dayasaki will talk, we'll chat, and then we will listen. Hope we will get a lot of information about Charya dance. And my special question, anyway, Dayasaki will ask you more questions about Charya dance. But my interest is why you are so interested, why you became so interested in Charya dance. So what benefit you got right after learning Charya dance. So hopefully you will talk about this matter. So now I will
Well.
hand over everything to moderate this program to Dayasake. Okay. Bye for now. Okay.
Bye for now.
Okay, thank you, Narashi. So this is definitely my very much opportunity for me to talk with you, and then as Narashi mentioned that how you got involved with the area, and then before this your area was completely different, and now we are talking about something different what you haven't done in the past. So this is kind of like definitely. So right now we are in the time zone of 8:30 in the morning, and then some people in Nepal they are watching after 9 o'clock. So definitely, I hope everybody from Nepal side and around the world. So definitely, this program will be watching from Facebook, even though they are not able to join in the Zoom. So, but the message for the whole world is will be delivered through this program. And then welcome to this program. They definitely. WDB is a kind of a very special program, that is signature program for the World Neva Organization, and you have also participated in the past, so presenting about the Bihara, the Portland Baha. So hopefully, as Narishi mentioned, today's program is like a 1343. So that means WDB means the World Neva Organization daily broadcast. So from the time of first day to until now, we have already completed like a 1343 episode. Today is the 43rd one. So you can imagine how much dedication the people from this World Neva Organization, and also how many guests we have already invited, not only in Nepal, also in around the world. And you are the 1434th and 43rd guest for our group. So definitely this program is definitely what we are trying to do as host for right now. We are trying to bring someone who has dedicated so much for the promotion of Newa heritage, Newa culture, Newa language, Nepal Bhasha, and everything. So they are not living in Nepal, but some are living around the world. It could be from Germany, it could be from Canada, it could be from United States, it could be from Australia, and anywhere who have dedicated to promote the Newa heritage and also the civilization. So this is the episode that we're gonna continue to do this program once a month on last Saturday of every month. So today is the last Saturday of April, and you are lucky person to have this April last Saturday. So you are here. So as we talk about, nice to give some briefly introduction about you, and then somehow, you came from different, I don't want to say came from different planet, but came from different field. But somehow you got attracted. You got attracted. Why is that? It was so much, enthusiastic for me to ask you this question. So from this perspective, I would like to know, when you say about, okay, Kon Hunt is here for talking about, Charya dance, all these things. So definitely I would like to know a little bit about from your childhood memory and where your school stage and your sort of, college level, in anything would like to make a brief introduction about yourself. We would like to hear from yourself rather than giving you about you. So please go ahead, Kuon, for just a couple of minutes on your background from your whole school year. So.
Okay, if we want to start way back, my school years were probably characterized by moving around. My father was in the United States military, and so we moved all over the country. Some school years, especially in young school years, I moved 3 times in a school year. And in my high school, I was in a different state for every grade of high school. We have 4 grades, and I was in a different state for each one of those. For college, I was actually accepted to Stanford University, but when the time came to go, family circumstances were such that was not possible at that time. And my life went a very different direction. I began working at General Atomic. Oh, well, that I think you may have already said those things. Okay, so went through a period of time of in my very young life of working more in a scientific direction. My job was not particularly fancy or wonderful. I was a high school graduate at that point, but typically I was doing data reduction and analysis, that kind of thing, in a variety of circumstances, and then ultimately married and had children. But my interest had moved on by then. And at that point, I was much more interested in psychology and bioethics. And so when I did go back to school, which was very sporadic over a long period of years in completely different locations.
Obviously.
Yeah. It was in those fields, with graduate work then in bioethics, because I was interested in the power of simulations and games to really change people's perspectives. And so I did use those. I don't remember what all you mentioned. I think you mentioned the Army Corps of Engineers and Diablo. I designed an AIDS game. This was back in the very early 80s when people were still very frightened of anyone with AIDS.
Right.
And to educate the public on what this was, that they didn't have anything to fear, that probably the AIDS patients had more to fear from them than the other way around, things like that. One thing one incident, for instance, that I would like to share that had to do with this was in a high school. I was leading a game at that point called Where Do You Draw the Line, which gave a lot of different incidents, ethical incidents, and what's right or wrong here. How do you discern? And in that one, we had in the class, anyway, one of these incidents had to do with a man whose wife was dying and he had no money and he needed the medicine so she wouldn't die. And it was a long drawn out thing, but that was really the point.
Yes.
And of course, the Westerners, it was like, well, if he steals the medicine. And what's the moral right here? And the Westerners, it was like, well, he needs to go to jail. This is wrong. You can't steal. It was all very cut and dried. And there was a young man in the class who said, this is very interesting. My father's the head man of the whole region. This is a region of Ghana. And I may be faced with this situation. And for me, this is not, the right situation, the right result is not to have the woman die and the man be in jail. This is not the right solution. Yeah. So it was interesting to see the kind of power that was there. And then as time went on, historically, back to my dad, he had always said, whatever is different, he traveled a lot. Whatever is different is likely good.
Okay.
So many people see different as bad, different as other. And that was not the home in which I was raised.
Okay. Yeah,
different is good.
Very, very interesting. So definitely, the people watching, who you were, and then all these things are very important for people to know. So from this background, that is there any particular incident that instance kind of put you into interest that study about the foreign foreign culture, foreign civilization, foreign language, foreign like religion, all this. Is there any particular incident that instance kind of interested you to go into that direction? Was there any any
Yes.
incidents you have remember?
Yes, there was. And that again relates to my dad because he had told me a lot about China. He had been in China over a long period of time. And so once when I was in Sunday school, I was in a Christian Sunday school, and I was about 9 years old, and they were talking about the only way to be saved is through Jesus Christ. And I said, well, what about, I had in my mind the picture of this little girl in China. So what about a little girl in China who has never heard of this?
Yeah.
She'll go to hell. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm sorry that this is not a loving God. This is not the place for me. And so
Okay.
that then led me to research other options, and
Okay.
was always attracted to Eastern philosophy, Eastern religions, and ultimately Buddhism. So I would say that was probably it was very, very early defining.
So what year was that?
What year was that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um,
Just to be briefly, sir. Just what year?
oh,
Any?
1950, what would that be? 56.
Okay. Just to. So now you showing that interest, how it was germinated the new interest for the Eastern religion. And then what resources have you consulted to learn about the Newa heritage? Was there any kind of available heritage resources, or maybe you talk to somebody to know about the Newa heritage? Because from the Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, now we are deep into Newa heritage and Newa civilization and Newa religion and Newa all these things. So what was the resources you have consulted before know a person who are giving you lots of information about the Newa heritage?
Well, Daya, it was very personal. It was a personal connection. I had a friend who had a friend who happened to be Praj Wall's dance student, Leanne,
Okay.
who was at that time living in Boise. And
Yeah.
my friend went to visit her and came back and said, gosh, there's this great guy, he's a good cook. And he's a dancer. And the dance he does, he teaches this dance. And that dance is all about embodying the divine. And I said, I got to meet this guy. I got to meet this guy. I got to do this dance. I don't know anything else, but just introduce me. Well, interestingly enough, he lived in Portland and his name was Prashval Charya.
So who was the person you mentioned?
Kathy Nagy was my friend, and Leanne Hunt, I think is her last name.
Leanne. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I think I met her. I met Leanne. Yes, I remember that.
So it's a
Wow. So
very
that means
accidental sort of connection there, so that my resources then really came in much later in working on the biography of Prashwal.
okay.
Where then, we're actually reading about the Newar history and more about Newar Buddhism, and learning mostly through Prajwal, through visitors to the temple, through the Sangha, through trips to Nepal with Prajwal, his brothers, his aunties. I mean, I feel like these are the people, this is the way that I've really learned about it.
So Leanne was your inspiration to know about this thing, right? So definitely I would say Leanne was the person who gave you inspiration.
Know Leanne at that time. I did not
Okay.
know. It was my friend who was a friend of Leanne's. No, she introduced me immediately. Kathy introduced me immediately to Prajwal.
Okay.
So it was really Prajwal who inspired me.
It's really a cycle of karma.
Yes.
So I would say really a cycle of karma. That's why you are in contact with Prajwal and also Leanne with the other friends and everything. So I'm very impressed that how you got in touch with in touch with the Lian and your friend, and then also connected with the Bihar, and then also with the Brazil. Now, how did you get in touch with Brazil and then the Portland Bahai? You have already mentioned about that. So, in the first incidents of seeing Brazil, so what was your impression at the time?
But he
When you
was the real
saw
thing.
when you met Brazil first time, whether it is in Portland or out of Portland or anywhere else, or maybe do you remember the first day when you see this is just like a simple person? I mean, he has so much work has done, but doesn't was there any kind of memory you still remember that you were in contact with Brazil first time in your life?
Oh, yes, I absolutely remember it. And it wasn't a casual situation. It was, I mean, the temple wasn't built. He'd only been in Portland a year or so.
Right.
And so it was, I believe in Kathy's living room. I'm not sure, but it was immediately, he's the real deal. This is really it. There was just that, a true guru just radiates, you know, and when he talked about Charya and what it was, and I was sold. It's like, sign me up. That was just I totally wanted to be in his class, and he was starting a class, and I was in it.
Any specific year you remember that time? 2000.
Probably 2001 or two. It's right in there.
Okay, 2001 or two. Yeah, that's so. The reason I'm asking all these days is very, very important for the people who do the research, and the deed dates are some kind of importance for going further. That oh, such and such time, Kuon has mentioned blah blah blah. I'll just send furthermore all these things. So it will show up when somebody do the research on this particular area down the road by the new generation. And then the new year, we also have to, like inspire the new generation, why it is so important as a civilization of the whole world, and also the civilization of the Nepal, and also the civilization of the Nyawa community. So that's why I particularly, wanted to ask you that some of the date is very important for us to know about that. So now, knowing about Brazil and knowing about the dances are very, very authentic, and especially from the eastern part of the world, and also especially from the Nepal, and also from specifically in the Nyawa community. So definitely, what inspired you to learn about the Charya dance? Was there any incidents, or was there any because you were the psychology student, so that psychology student also probably a source of inspiration for you to go into that direction. So I'm just assuming that I don't know whether your insight might be different or your vision will be different in that case. So definitely. So, what inspired you to learn the Charya dance? What is the incident? What is the main gist of the Charya dance that you haven't seen before in the past, and then now you are, like in the whole field because you came from a different field and now you are in a Charya field. So definitely people might be interested to wait a minute. Wow, look at that! This person is completely different field, and now we are into this whole Charya dance area. So definitely people will understand in different ways. Your insight in this area, your insight in this field probably will be inspiring for the other people also. I would like to ask you your view on this particular subject, particular region, maybe in a couple of just in a couple of minutes, please.
I'm very simple.
Yeah.
It truly was. It truly was the idea, the thought that you could embody the divine. That was so inspiring to me. And the idea that this came from, that this was couched, that this was in the terms of Sanskrit. Both of those were so inspiring to me that
Okay.
it was just, I was just drawn. There wasn't any, I'd never even seen Charya at that point that I wanted to study. I had not seen a performance of Prajwal's. For me, it was a study. It was a walking meditation, if you will. It was that drew me.
Okay. Two definite terms you have here. So walking meditation, right? And then other one says the body as a divine. So these two phrases, what you have just now said, I mean, it is very inspiring for the other people. I'm very much impressed that how you saw the divine person, divine spirit in one person, divine spirit in, and also the meditation, not just sitting in a crossed leg, but moving around and the meditation. So those are the method what you have just mentioned over here. It is very, very inspiring for the other people. So definitely, people who are watching from the Facebook and also from, the Zoom, connected. So definitely they will be inspired also going into this direction. So now, knowing all these things, so so how did you learn for fun, or do you learn for gaining the spiritual discipline? And what did you have the chance to learn in the past? So it was not, as you have mentioned, you haven't learned anything from the past. But was it a fun, or was it a spiritual discipline to continue, or what was the
It
actually
was
fact that
not
you had?
fun. My learning was not fun. I am not a good mimic.
Okay,
I mean, a lot of people can kind of watch and okay, I can kind of do that. I'm not like that. I
okay,
learned from the meaning, from the Sanskrit meaning.
yes,
I would bug Prajwal if he didn't give, but he does. That's the wonderful thing. He always gives the meaning. It's like, what does that word mean? Okay, why are we making that mudra? What is that about? Tell me more about that. Because I would have to learn that and then work very hard at figuring out how to make my body make that mudra. But then it had meaning to me. Then I could that I never lost that thought that somehow in the process of all this difficult stuff that wasn't really very fun, that I could somehow bring through those beings, bring through into the world, make available that energy. So
wow,
Charya is really a sadhana. If you have a pure heart and that is your intent, it's really sadhana, and that's what drew me, and that's what kept me going. I'm not the best Charya dancer.
but I'm so impressed that you didn't learn for fun, right? And that's what you said. Is for
No,
learning something, is for going into deep into the divinity. So these things are very, very important for the now these days, the young generation. I mean, they do learn the dances in the Charya, and then following the instruction and everything, but somehow it feels like for the new generation, and they learn only for the fun rather than going into the deep direction. So that's why your inspiration, your excitement, and your expression of what you have done right now. So this is a very important for the new generation, so that when they participate in a Charya dance, it's not only for the fun, it's not only for the showing, hey, I can do this. It's not for that, but they have to understand the meaning of the each and every word, each and every word in the Charya, syllabus, Charya vocabulary, all these things. So, but it is not so, if people are not interested on knowing the meaning of all those things, so definitely it's only for no fun. But from your perspective, that is not only for the fun, also for deep into the knowledge of the Charya. So that's why I understood from what you have just said right now. And thank you so much for giving giving the insight how you have learned and then how you are moving forward. So definitely it is very important for the new generation to know about all these things. So when you're moving in forward, and was it really challenging to learn? Okay, so you're starting from the day one. You're starting from the very first hour. So was it really easy to grab what the puzzle say, or what the puzzle is kind of showing? Okay, mudra needs to be this way or that way, or hands on top, hand on the bottom, and hand on right and hand on the left. Was it because he's saying in a like a Sanskrit term, right? And Sanskrit term, and then you are not a Sanskrit speaker, you are not a Sanskrit learner, but somehow was it really from that perspective? That's why was it very difficult, or maybe challenging, or maybe wasn't kind of like a, not easy to learn. So what do you think about these things because of the complexity of the whole Charya, mudras and words and everything?
well, two things. One
Yes.
is Prashwal's an excellent teacher, and he's a
Yes.
very kind teacher.
Yes.
And for instance, even as I've aged and I've not been able to do some of the dances, I mean, right now I'm not dancing at all, but as I aged, because I'm 78 and I have a lot of arthritis. And in some cases I would say, Prashwal, I just can't do that. You know, my body can't do that. And he would say, well, what can you do? And I would show him what I could do. It's like, well, then do that. You know, it clearly, I mean, there are specific mudras, and there is the proper way to go about it, and that is what you learn. But I'm just saying, he's so kind and so tolerant that he would always works to make sure that you understand, that you are able, and he works with you. So that part was easy. The Sanskrit, I love the Sanskrit. I as soon as at one point he began Dharma classes. He always does Dharma classes with the teaching, with the Charya, and he did a Sanskrit class. And so, I mean, I was just amazed that the first letter, you know, the first letter is this short A, and the short A is coming out of the void. It's like, whoa, okay. And then the second vowel is the body, the manifest world. It's like, okay, we've got two vowels, and already we've got the cosmos and the manifest world. I mean, how good is that for a language? You know, when I was learning English and like how to write, we had these little letters along the tops of the walls of the schoolroom. And so you would look at the letter and then you would try and write it, you know, and that was my vowels. They were just letters on the wall. And these vowels were vibrations that created the world.
Okay, that insight is very, very helpful to understand, you know, the Sanskritization of all the, you know, Charya songs, and also the body movement, and also the mental, you know, concentration. So these are very important for you to. Let me briefly just say something in Nepal Bhasha, because people are watching in Facebook so that they understand what we are talking about rather than just speaking in English. जोजोलो पास अगस्त ठो वर्ल्ड नेवा अर्गनाइजेसन WDB प्रोग्राम अन्तर्गत खलाबला जुया चौंडो ठौँ यो एपिसोड चाहिँ दोची व सोसा दोची झिन सोसा व पी सोङ्गु एपिसोड का ठौँ झिसा चाहिँ थाना पोर्टल्यान्ड अर्गेनाइज चोनादीमा चाहिँ पोर्टल्यान्ड अर्गेनाइज चोनादीमा कोन हान्ससम्म चाहिँ चार्या डान्स अथवा चार्या प्याखा होलामिका वेक पाखें वेक यु गुख चाहिँ बायोग्राफी स्वेबले हल्लासा वेक मेवया छौकमा चाहिँ संसारे अथवा चाहिँ मेवया चाहिँ परिपाटी चाहिँ हुर्के चुमा चाहिँ बोलना वमा मेजु ज्यान तर चाहिँ प्रज्वल रत्न बजाचार्य गुख चाहिँ प्रभावै वया चाहिँ वेकला चाहिँ चर्या डान्स ठौकुने आ वेक चाहिँ ने च्याट डेट हुकान तबि चाहिँ वेक चाहिँ चर्या डान्स प्रति यको प्रोभाइड जो कारण चाहिँ वेकला चाहिँ ठोक कल छ आ वेक नप चाहिँ थन खलबल ज्या चौडो आ चिक्न्यु न छु यदि वेक नप न्यसा टेउ छु दरगा डल्लासा थन खबर च्याट चाहिँ चोइदिस अथवा जिमसँग चाहिँ स्वेया तर जी चाहिँ थन वे सिने जुमेजको स्वे खनि छम मनुना जिता चाहिँ हेल्प याना ठो प्रश्न वर्डगा चाहिँ दैदु लला जिता अब चाहिँ अफि एजुटिना चाहिँ छम एज अ चाहिँ चरिया डान्सरी रूप थन अमेरिका चुना उलिमसी मतलब चाहिँ जाइना चाहिँ चुना दिम वेक छ चाहिँ चाहिँ सलमान या गर्न चाहिँ वेक थन बना चाहिँ थन न्याने हो ख चिप्नी छु चाहिँ नेसा दास थन चाहिँ जिम त चाहिँ सपोर्ट दैदिस यो गएको सबै now I'm just kind of giving you information that how you have learned Charya dance, and also what is important for being a Charya dancer, and the new generation supposed to kind of moving forward to learning all these things. And also definitely if they have any question, they can post the question in a chat box as well as also in a Facebook chat. So definitely I cannot able to see the Facebook right now, but somehow if somebody kind of read out the question, or maybe Prajul can read out the question from the the Facebook, and then we will continue on that. So and then you will be able to answer if any definitely has a question on regarding so now moving forward, so we are right now it's like a 9 o'clock in Portland, Oregon, so definitely we still have another 15-20 minutes to moving forward. So as you have mentioned that going into the learning of Sanskrit language, definitely it is very important for the Charya dance. So definitely not knowing the Charya, not knowing the Sanskrit, the vowels and all this thing, because the vowel is a and ah. Yeah, they probably you haven't heard about this. So a can be a longer. Wow, look at that. The longer one version has a different meaning, and the short one has a different meaning. So as you have mentioned just now. So from that perspective, are you satisfied with what you have learned, and what is your next step for the further achievement? Was there any applicable for you to say that? What is your goal for the next achievement in this field? Is there kind of like, okay, I'm done, no more, blah, blah. So, but definitely, as you said, when you started beginning, you said that you had arthritis, and so because I cannot do this. But Prozol asks you that, what can you do? So what can you do is the main inspiring question for you to moving forward, and now then you become the Charya dancer. Isn't that something great for you in your life? The whole life is changed. Definitely. So Charya dance is not only for the fun, not only for the show off, not only for the demo of what you have inside, but also give the spiritual value and also the spirituality inside within you, and bringing the spirituality of the divine beings come into your body. This is the main gist of the whole thing you have learned. So I'm very much impressed that definitely. So what is your achievement now on after you have learned so much about this?
Truly, it is to practice what I've only begun to learn, to integrate all the Buddhist principles more deeply into my life. I mean, like I
Okay.
said, at this point in my life, I really can't do the dance. It's not possible any longer. But I'm working on a biography of Prajwal. Hopefully, that is done sometime soon. um, and working also to yes, to really integrate those principles. I'm just a student. I'm just, it's not like further achievement. It's more like more learning.
But there's a possibility, even though your body movement probably not easy because of your disability of not moving forward. But I think you will be able to, instructing the other people that they might be able to, because you speak English, and also, so there is a possibility that you might be able to teach other people, even though you cannot move around, at least not like a dancing and not like a showing, participating, but definitely you'll be able to do that. Isn't that so?
Possibly. I certainly
You
have some ideas. I have some ideas I would like to share in terms of young people and Charya and that sort of thing. Yes.
So yeah, definitely we look forward to, maybe to life is doesn't end, so just for doing for one thing or on two things, so it's an ongoing kind of activity, so definitely. So, in this perspective, so what I like to say, because what you have done, what you have learned, and what you had, doing, this very, very inspiring for the new generation, and very, very inspiring for the people who are moving away from this area, because this is the one of the most achievable kind of activities. So you can do that, and you can do it. So that's what you are giving the message to the new generation. So hopefully that they will continue by listening to your insight, and also all the pictures, so what you have. But we are looking for the small video clip that you are showing the dances. Somehow I couldn't find that. So definitely someday we will post on the website or something like that. So, and do you have any suggestion for the youngster? In my youngster are not moving forward, because this is the AI age. This is the I age of science and the technology and all these things. What the heck is this kind of career dance? What is the purpose of keeping this for the So my question to you, do you have any suggestion for youngster on how important it is to learn the career dance that you have never seen in the past? So do you have any insight for the young generation that so that we can continue to have this tradition, not only in the Nepal, Bihar and everything, and also every in the world as a civilization of the Newa heritage, a civilization of Newa culture and everything? Can it be possible to transfer your knowledge to the new generation so that they can continue furthermore?
Well,
What do
I
you
would
think?
just like to encourage them that Charya is an avenue that really takes the principles of Newar Vajrayana Buddhism and gives them expression in the world in a way that is interesting and exciting and beautiful. So that's one piece. Another piece is that it truly is an opportunity for them as the Charya dancer to embody the divine. I mean, how cool is it to be Singamukhi? You know,
Okay.
here you are, this female lion Buddha, you know, all over the state. I mean, that kind of thing. What about Padmasambhava and all of his power and majesty and magic? I mean, what about each of these different deities? What about the couples dances, the beautiful Amoga Siddhi Aryatara? What, I mean, imagine, they need to imagine themselves as expressing these deities that they've seen perhaps in statues, but then suddenly they become the statue. They give it life. They bring that deity forward. It's very exciting for someone for whom that is attractive. There may be some for whom that is not attractive, but beyond Charya, there's so much that they can do. I mean, they can make their Newar Vajrayana Buddhism come alive. They can get a Dharma buddy. Doesn't even have to be a teacher. It can be a friend, someone who also wants to talk Dharma with them. They can take a topic, right speech. We don't need somebody to tell us what right speech is. Each of us, as soon as you say that, it's like, oh dear, I interrupt people. I don't listen well. I'm looking at my phone. I don't use proper language. Just a whole variety of very simple things that we all know.
Right.
And yet, if we truly committed to practicing them, would take
Okay.
our life to a whole new level. What about generosity? Generosity, everybody, I know a young person doesn't need someone else to tell them.
Right.
It's wonderful if you can find a teacher. That's great if you have a teacher. Not everyone has a teacher.
Right.
But if you have a friend, if you can create a group online, listen to a podcast. But a topic like generosity, what about the generosity of spirit of going to see an auntie you haven't seen in a long time? What about the generosity of spirit that takes a young child in the neighborhood who doesn't have an older sibling to just kind of hang out with occasionally?
Yeah.
Generosity
So,
isn't about giving stuff away.
right. Yeah, it has a mental stage too. So far as how many dances do you remember the name of the dances so far you have performed while you were able to do that? Could you numerize, so and just the
Let's
one at
see.
a time. So just remember whatever you have, because this will be very helpful for the people who, who are moving forward in learning the dances. So how many dances you have learned so far until, until you could do that?
Oh, wow.
Just
Okay,
to
Jaya, so
give us
you've
some.
totally challenged me. I do not
Well,
have any notes on
also,
that, but I'll say Padmasambhava is one of my
okay, number
favorites.
one. Yes, number one, Padmasambhava, and the next one,
Avalokiteswara.
Avalokiteswara. Okay, I'm repeating because people can listen, what you have learned. So, Padmasambhava, Avalokiteswara, and
Aryatara.
Aryatara, and
Saptalochani.
Saptalochani, and
Oh, wow.
Singamukhi.
I cannot do Singamukhi. I
Okay,
I
but
have always so admired people doing Singamukhi. I cannot do
okay,
it. It's always been too much to jump around and do Singamukhi. I can't do Mahakala, which I would love to do.
Mahakala. Okay, and then what else? So all of this is six,
um,
seven. So
um, Vajrayogini,
Vajrayogini,
Nairatma
Nairatma.
Devi.
Okay.
Oh, at one point I counted and there was like 25.
Oh, wow. 25 dances. Wow, yeah. So it must have, taken a long time to learn all these 25 dances because every single dance has a different mudra. Every single dance has a different way of expression of your own thoughts and meditation, all these things.
But you learn the mudras and often destroy
Right.
is part of the dance.
Right.
Often light is part of the dance.
Okay.
Many of the mudras do transfer. Each individual deity does have their own mudra,
Right.
but at the same time, many of them transfer.
Okay,
It's
that's
not
good.
as hard as it might sound.
So if we have a physically meeting, so probably they will be able to show the dance mudras and everything because we are in a Zoom right now. So definitely not that easy to do some demo right now, but definitely someday down the road, if we have a dance classes, taught by other than Prajul or anybody non-Newa, it will be possible for you to do that, right? Definitely in the future. So. You don't dance, but you can teach as instructor. Okay, this is how you do. When the sentence, like in Sanskrit, comes in this way, then your mudra should be turning this way, that way, east, west, south, west. Those kind of things are not difficult for you to do now because of your knowledge already deep into that, that kind of things. But
I could
anyway.
say what.
Yes, that's what I want to hear from you. So definitely, do you remember, we were in Kathmandu in 2018, and then we have a World Newa, Day celebration. The first time you were there, do you you remember the instance? How was your experience at the time?
At the conference.
Is that your first visit, or you have been already there before that 2018, sir?
I believe that oh gosh, I can't remember if that was the first or the second time. I really don't remember.
And I was there, and Brazil was there.
That's the
Even
second time.
Corinne was there at the time, and then
Okay,
Dina
then
was there. Dina was
probably,
there at the time.
yeah.
That's the
Brazil
second
did the
time she came.
presentation,
Yeah.
so I was. So is it the first time? Yeah, Brazil saying that it's the first time, right?
No, second time. Second time.
Second
Second
time.
time. Okay,
Yeah.
now he remembered.
Thank you, Prajwal.
So do you
Not
remember
only is
at
there
that?
arthritis, but there's memory loss.
Do you remember, but just for the 1 minute, do you remember what we did on the first, World Newa Day celebration in 2018 in the Nepal banquet in Kathmandu, Nepal?
Well,
Any,
we did
any,
the dance. I remember that.
yeah, and then anything you remember from because you were like a participant from the foreign country, and then somehow people were amazed that the World Newa Day first celebration in 2018 was one of the remarkable landmark for the Newa organization, Newa organization, World Newa organization. So that's why, from your perspective, if you remember, few things what we did during that time. So just to
I
just
remember
briefly.
Prajwal's presentation about the
Okay.
temple.
Okay.
I don't know
Anything
what
else?
you're looking for, Daya. I'm not sure.
Anyway, I'm just trying to refresh your memories how how it happened till 2018, and we did that.
It was.
So one more last question.
I remember that.
One more question. Do you have any suggestion for the WDB team members that we are doing right now, who are dedicated in drawing the attention to the importance of the Newa heritage in a global perspectives? Repeat again.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestion for the WDB team members who are dedicated in drawing attention to the importance of the Newa heritage in the global perspective?
Yes. My thought is, instead of taking Newar culture as a lump, break it down. People don't know what that means. They don't know why they would want to be interested in that.
Right.
And so if it's broken down into there are some thoughts that came to me. You, of course, know so much more. Meditation. Would you be interested in meditation? Would you be interested in embodying the divine? Would you be interested in sacred dance or song? Would you be interested in non-sectarian principles for living? Would you be interested in the oldest world language that is in living, breathing, daily use? Would you be, well, even Prush Wall's Educational Museum in Portland will help. I think all of those could be things that could attract people. If it's, if it's put out as more individual pieces.
Okay, and somehow, yeah, the people who are watching in Facebook and also here, do you have any question? I would like to keep the floor open. If you have any questions to Kuon, and how do you like about this program? So all these things. So please come forward and then put a question, or maybe you can open up your camera and then ask question. I would appreciate that. So please go ahead. Prajwal, do you have any comments on what we are doing right now?
That's a great, yeah. I'm just get to, about the history. It's a little bit about the Kuon. That was wonderful. And also, yeah, it is inspiring for the Charya who's learning the Charya, just not only the form. So they're learning the inside will make a vast difference for the people. So yeah, that's the, and there's many different layers as the Kuon's mentioned that, it's not easy, just only one layer. Oh, you're going to dance only. Dance happened before became a dancer, before the dance, It's really, really wonderful to have meditations, concentrations and awareness and, also learn about the, paramitas, those things. So it is, yeah, very important. That's great. I said that was wonderful.
So don't you want to thank to Prajwal from your bottom of your heart because of who he is and who you are?
No, it's nothing to do with
That comes without saying.
me. I don't. It's nothing to do with me. That is, this is like who I am there. So I just give my things, what I know. That's what I'm sharing. It's from my father, so I have a knowledge from my father. So sharing that way. That's all I did it. So nothing is important, for me. So.
So any question from the audience, from the Facebook audience? Prajwal, could you check the Facebook if anybody has put anything on that? Because from my side, I could not.
Okay. I'll check with the.
Chikpaniuna छु nyasa dasa nyana disaju ataka jiu azana hanamia चाहिँ 5 मिनट टाइम बग्दैन छु चाहिँ को क्युरियोसिटी सुख वेको थ्या थ्या वला छु त्यो विषय त कया चाहिँ द्वारिका जु छु nyasa dulki वेको चाहिँ इंग्लिश है nyana risa छु kamoro
Many thanks. A person of your type, all Newa must respect you, do puja. They do puja, for showing such a, attached to Newa culture. So you deserve really a big worship from Newa of Nepal. Many thanks. Yakuiko Suva, Yakuiko Bintuna. Hey, yes.
Okay, Pintuta and Suba. Pintuta is a good luck and greetings, and then Suba is thank you in Nepal Bhasa. So we have one person commented. Anybody had anything? We still have few more minutes to continue this program before we end it. Facebook
Okay, I have just one compliment for Kuon. So I was thinking before that it is too late for me to learn the Charya dance, because I thought that now I heard that you are 78 years. So it's same. I feel like I was thinking is not. It's same for me. It's not. You are 78. You have a good energy, and I heard that you learned 25 dances. It's not a joke, right? 25 dances.
It's not a joke, truly.
Yeah, and that is so motivates to all people who really want to learn. at least few dances, the Charya dance. Okay, so that I mean, it's really worth listening what you chat with Dea Shaki today.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you so much. I'm so glad.
I have no
I'm
questions
so glad.
actually. I have no questions. Okay,
That's
thank you so much.
that's a
Thank you
very
so much being here.
That's a very good compliment that, we are just doing not only to, make you famous, but the insight of the Charya dance, what you have learned from, Prajwal. And we all know that Prajwal, because we don't put too much in a light on, who is doing what, but definitely these kind of activities in our program will definitely, encourage the people around the world. And then that's why we are in a global Newa movement kind of activities is going on. So anybody has any question? If not, then I would like to have a final thought from from Kuon. Definitely so I'm gonna wait for another 15 seconds if anybody has any question from Facebook and also from the Zoom gathering. So please go ahead and then ask your question or make a comment or anything. That would be great. Okay, right now is at 9:20, so we almost over by 5 minutes. So finally, as a final thought, so after that, I will hand over to Naresh. So hopefully Naresh can continue the final, the final of this program. So my last question to you, Kuon, is do you have any final thoughts on participating in this program like this? What is your final thought? How would you evaluate or how would you comment on this program, what I ask you to join with us and also continue and express your ideas, your experience and everything. So do you have a final thought on this program, which we call World Newa Organization, WDB, and then today is the 1343rd episode that you will be listed in this program, and then it will be available for the future generation to go into detail to look into this, everything. So that way, people will know about how you have done and how you have learned and how you are moving forward, even at the age of this, seniority. So definitely people will be inspired from you. And then your final thought about this program. After that, I will hand over to Nareshji, please. Nareshji, are you able to continue after this? Yeah, go ahead, please, Kuon.
Okay. Daya, it was a joy. It was an honor. And I thank you. I think everyone associated with it. Thank you so much.
Okay, Prajwal, please, from your side. Kuon is your student, and then what she has expressed to you. So definitely, you also learn that you are doing not just for starting to promote the Charya dance. Kuon is the right hand person that you are. She's expressing what she has learned from you. So, do you have any comment at this moment so that people will know what you have done and how people achieve all these things? So, just 30 seconds.
Well, for me, it's like I grew up with this dance tradition. So, and then learning about the Pacific, to keep the save the traditions, and preserve the traditions, you need to go to the authentic way rather than just the, so Kuon did it like the really studies, really do the sadhana, memorize all the sadhanas and nyasas and all different things. That's where you need to go, because without meditation, without concentration, without understanding, just moving body or copy from the videos and the YouTube doesn't make a help to understanding the Charya. So you need to have a guru and find a gurus to study a little deeper and meanings, embodiment with that meanings, then it comes truly. So that's what we call the two mudra, which is otherwise just only the outer mudra. So you're just dancing with the outer way. So that I can say. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Prajwal. Okay, so I would like to hand over to Nareshji if he's available. Nareshji, are you available to close up?
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Kuon Han. So this is so nice to hear that, and thank you so much for your time. And this is really this type of interview. So we will archive. Yeah. So people will definitely take benefit from such type of interview. So we hope. So anybody can watch in YouTube. So we download this YouTube, this Facebook, because if you recently Facebook announced that they will delete all live video within 30 days. So this live will stay here for 30 days. Definitely we'll download this one and we'll upload to YouTube. So if you want to share with your friends, definitely you can share the YouTube instead of the Facebook page. So I will send you the YouTube link once we upload. Okay, thank you so much. This is really motivational talk today. It was really motivational talk, and thank you so much to Daya Shake, because he's the one who found you. Okay, who found you, and he was talking before that he wants to bring something who is really really nice people like you. So he did it for today, and he's bringing more in future too. So we are actually trying to collect all such type of the interview and talks so that the people will take benefit in future. Thank you so much. Okay. Juga धेरै एकैको सुबह जितना विशेष ज्याएना चाहिँ तना छेन प्यावे मजली आटो गाडी चुना जिन बच्चा जक्सन म अवस्था लाटा सकस्ना एकैको सुबह ठौ चाहिँ छि 43 चाहिँ एपिसोड छ ल 43 एपिसोड ठौ चाहिँ छिसा चिन हासा सुरन तया ठौ छिसा चाहिँ हरेक महिने के डक्ली लिपाङ्गु शनिबार चाहिँ नेपाल भाषा संस्कृति अथवा चाहिँ सुन खेले चाहिँ विशेष योगदान बिहा रिसर्च सेना ठ चाहिँ बियाचोपी वा अझ पिन चाहिँ छन हया छिसा खलाब लियाको थन कुटाइन चनडु मेउ चाहिँ छिसा चाहिँ कुटाया तो थों अप ठुसी अप्लिसा मेउ लागि सँग कुटाया सकस्ना एकको सुबह ठौको WDB थने कोचाका छन सुबह
Thank you. You go suba.
जितना लाइभ ठुना चाहिँ एन्ड को चाहिँ एन्ड